Hello, welcome to a new knitting show and tell. I'm Celeste and it's been a long time since I have updated you here on YouTube, though I know many of you have followed along and been in touch on the gram. I went through a bit of a knitting slump, primarily because I have a toddler. Well, I had a toddler. She's pretty much a big girl now. She's 4.5. Oh my God. But yeah, I would say when she was a baby, knitting and looking after her at the same time was easier. And we're starting to enter an era where it's easier again, but there was a period there where yeah, it was difficult to do both, and by the end of the day when she was in bed, I often did not even have the energy to knit. So quite a knitting slump. Although there were projects here and there getting done, mostly for her, which you will have seen on the gram or on Ravelry if you keep up with me. I'm Celesteful on both places, and my info is down below in the doobly-doo. Yeah, so I've pretty much, I guess, knit her like a sweater a year, maybe at about that rate, and then like some other things. I made her a stocking, leg warmers for ballet class, some stuffies here and there. And I haven't made a ton else. But the last few months, my knitting mojo has really come back. And I am feeling like I'm in the mood again. I am, you know, marking patterns on Ravelry again, making plans again, watching other knitting videos on YouTube again. I feel like I'm really getting back in that swing, and it's wild because it's been so long that like a lot of my favorite podcasters also either are in a slump or they pretty much stopped. Like a lot of the podcasts I was subscribed to are like haven't put out anything in the longest time, you know. And then I'm finding some new ones that I find interesting as well. So it is, you know, it's been a while. It's been a time, it's been a pandemic, it's been a life-changing few years, and but it feels good to be back. It certainly feels good to be knitting again, and hopefully those of you that are still out there are interested in watching me talk about my knitting again. So here I am. I have a huge stack of whips and things to look at, and yeah, I'll start off with a finished object I just finished yesterday. Well, I still need to weave in ends and block. But this is the Anne sweater that I made for my daughter Coco. And I made this with Quince & Co. I think it's called Wimbrel. It's their DK 100% cotton. The color is called Aster, I know that. All the details on all my projects are on my Ravelry project pages. I still keep them pretty well up to date. You can also see what I've made since I've been gone from YouTube there. Because it's all on Ravelry. I'm still pretty good about keeping up with Ravelry, I'll say that. But yeah, so I just made this for Coco. She tried it on yesterday and immediately wore it for the second half of the day with the ends trailing all around, which is very cute. I will say, as cute as it looks like this, it looks even cuter on her. It looks so cute on her. The sleeves turned out super voluminous, which I absolutely love. They look just fantastic. This is an interesting, just really smartly designed pattern. It is available in kid and adult sizes. I think they might be two separate patterns though. It's knit from the top down. You do a little bit of like a raglan right here, and so that gives it this like nice square ribbed neckline. And then, you know, you separate out, do the front and the back, come back together, knit straight down, and then pick up for the sleeves. And the sleeves are shaped using rapid increases followed by a lot of short rows to create the cap, and then a rapid decrease and this nice little ribbing and rolled edge. So it is available in a cropped version and a full length version. I initially was making the cropped version. In fact, I bound off and everything. Tried it on Coco, and it did look a little bit shorter than I was expecting, but you know, things block out, so who knows. But she immediately was like, no mommy, I want it longer. And I obviously didn't want to like rip out the 10 rounds of ribbing and 4 rounds of rolled edge and bind off and then knit more length, so I kind of wanted to see if how real that was. So I kind of talked to her about it, and I asked her, was she sure she didn't want it cropped, and why didn't she want it cropped? And she told me she didn't want it cropped because she wanted to be allowed to wear it to school, because her school does not allow her to show her midriff, which is stupid, and I could go on a rant about that, but I will spare you. But when she said that, I was like, okay, fair, legit. I will knit it longer for you. That makes sense. It's more practical. You can wear it every day at school. So yeah, what are you gonna do? But I didn't want it to be, I still didn't want it to be like really long. I wanted it to still kind of feel, not cropped, but like, I wanted to end kind of, you know, around the place where her hips were or something, not like, you know, longer like the pattern showed. So I ended up knitting like 3 more inches, which was not quite as many. I think it was maybe more like 4.5 or something to do the full length. So yeah, I think it is a nice length on her, and still has that kind of cute shape that I was going for, and not being like fully all the way long. What else to say about it? Oh, I really don't like knitting with cotton, guys. Here's the thing. I don't like knitting with 100% cotton or 100% linen, although I do it all the time. I'm wearing a full 100% linen sweater, because I do like the fabric, especially in the summertime. But I really, when I'm working on something, I just loathe really anything that is not wool and doesn't have that stretch of wool. It just feels totally different. And it's not that it's hard on my hands, it's just not as enjoyable. It's just not what I want. However, I like summer garments. I want more summer garments. I want to be able to wear more me-made things in the summer and make more things for Coco. So I usually kind of suffer through it. But I have plans to make myself another summer garment, hopefully before summer's over. I have ordered yarn for it, and the yarn I ordered is the Drops cotton wool, whatever it's called. It's 50/50 DK, and I can't remember that I've ever actually worked with a 50/50 cotton wool blend before, so I'm hopeful that that is going to be a good compromise where it will work and be appropriate. I think it's like super washable as well, so it can't be that warm. Hopefully it'll still be weather appropriate and maybe have a bit of the squish and the elasticity that I love about wool. We'll see how that goes, but yeah. Otherwise, I mean, it's a labor of love. It's a labor of love to knit all this in 100% cotton, but it is certainly love for my child and not love for the process. I will tell you that. It wasn't that bad. I like wool, guys. I mean, if you know me, you remember how much I love wool. It's just my favorite. Okay, what have I been working on? Well, let me just show you the socks first. I started these back in November, I think, and they've been languishing for quite a while. Even though I'm almost done, I have one full sock, and I am on the foot of the second sock. And yet, haven't touched them in a while, have I? That's fine. I always like to have some socks going. I think the reason I haven't just like picked up and zoomed through and finished these off is because they are texture, and it's a easy texture to memorize once you get going. But when I set it down for a few months and then I pick it up again, it kind of takes me a minute to like get my bearings with it. So it's not like the most mindless knit, so it's not the easiest just on the go, like pick it up and immediately knit like a vanilla sock would be. This is the texture. I think it's quite pretty. I honestly cannot remember where I found this texture. I feel like I maybe just like Googled knitting textures and like I did something crazy like that, or maybe I found it in a book. No memory. But it's just an 8-row repeat. Like I said, it is memorizable. After maybe one repeat of it, you're kind of like, yeah, I know what I'm doing now. And it just creates this like slightly broken rib, but slightly more complicated than that. It creates these almost like diamonds, which is quite cute. I'm doing this in Retrosaria Mondem, which is non-superwash fingering wool that I absolutely love. And it is so squishy, and it is rustic, but it is not crazy itchy. Like I wouldn't do like a scarf or a hat, but for socks it's perfect. Perfect for socks. I'm doing this nice reinforced slip stitch heel. I've gotten into heel flaps again in recent years. I've decided I prefer the fit to a fish lips kiss, and you know, I enjoy the process, honestly. Like they don't fly off the needles the way that my fish lips kiss socks used to do, but I have so many pairs of hand knit socks now, and I constantly have a pair going. It's like I don't need them to fly off the needles anymore. It's okay for me to just sit with something and be knitting on the same pair for like a year. It's fine. It's fine, and I like the finished product better with the heel flap, and they last longer. So yeah, that's my sock, my socks. Oh, I believe these are the La Bien-Aimée. This yarn is the La Bien-Aimée collaboration with Retrosaria, and that's the color. It's on Ravelry, right? Oh, the texture, the 8-row repeat is also on Ravelry in my pattern notes for that, if you're curious. Okay, and everything else is the 3 sweaters that are currently on my needles, not counting the one that I have not touched in at least a year, the Daydreamer. It's this lovely Andrea Mowry pattern that I was working on when I was pregnant. I'll pick it up again. It'll happen. I loved working on it when I was working on it. I remember that the texture was very complicated, but that when I got into it, it was like very potato chippy. But it's the kind of thing I think would be difficult to just sort of pick up and set down. Like I'm gonna find a time when I'm gonna dedicate to actually finishing it, and I will do it then. I will say another thing that has been a struggle for me with sweaters over the last few years and with knitting is knowing what size to make, because I was like pretty consistently wearing the same size for, you know, maybe the 5 years or however long it was that I was like making a lot of sweaters before I got pregnant. And then after I was pregnant, after I lost most of the pregnancy weight, those first few months postpartum, COVID hit, and working from home with a baby with no help for a couple years was extremely rough, and my body like went into fat storage mode, and I gained a lot of weight very quickly. After that, a lot of my hand knits didn't fit the way that I wanted them to. And then, you know, I was like, well, I need to make myself some new hand knits for like the size that I am now. I deserve nice things in my current body. I made plans, I bought yarn to make a throw over, which is one of the things I'm working on, and other things. And I started, yeah, I must have started the Jupiter in that time as well. But anyway, point being that now, now I'm losing the weight, which I wasn't planning on doing, didn't think I was gonna do. Don't wanna really go into all the details of that here, especially since weight gain and weight loss and details something like that can be triggering for some people, including myself. Suffice to say, I am at a point now where I don't feel super confident about what size I'm going to be, even in the fall or the winter, or next year. I started some sweaters here for the size that I was 4 months ago, which was a couple sizes bigger than I am now. So I'm like, oh, they'll be oversized, I guess, whatever. Like, I'm just gonna finish them. But then I'm like, probably losing even more weight. So I don't know how oversized. So it's just like one of those things that honestly, I'm just kind of trying to let go of control about it and just be like, whatever, I'm gonna finish these sweaters that I started. They're gonna be whatever size they are. They're probably all gonna be oversized to some extent. I think it'll be fine. They're all yoked. Yeah, they're all yoked sweaters. They're not something that has like set-in sleeves or something that would like look bad oversized. And I like oversized, I'm fine. So that'll be fine. However, it's also a thing where as I start new projects, like choosing what size to make this summer garment in that I was mentioning, it's the, gosh, what the heck is it? Whoop, sorry. It's the Skagen tee. That's what I was talking about, making in the 50-50 wool cotton. And like deciding how much yarn to buy is deciding what size I'm gonna make it in was a head trip. And I kind of had to go with something that I'm like, okay, this might be slightly smaller than I am at this second, but not so small that I think it won't fit in like a month or two, so I could wear it this summer. And then like next summer, maybe or maybe not. Like, and part of me choosing the yarn I chose drops in part because it was affordable. Like I was looking at like Knitting for Olive and other things, and it's like, I just want to do it in an affordable yarn, and that way I can be okay with the fact that if it only looks good on me this summer and next year it's too oversized to wear, because I have no idea, it might look cute oversized, it might not. So it's like, if I'm only gonna wear it this summer, then I don't want to waste a ton of money on the yarn. But I'm just gonna like be okay with that. It's just all it's all an exercise and just kind of like trying to dress the body that I have now. But when you're doing a slow project like knitting, where it can take a while to finish a garment, and then what season are you gonna wear it in, and then anyway, I digress. But that's something going on in my knitting life right now, is picking sizes is a whole thing. Okay, but here's what I'm working on. Okay, so the first one that I started is this Jupiter crop, which is inside out, because I'm knitting the sleeve, and I like to do small circumference color work inside out because it helps the floats to not be too tight. But I will turn, can't turn the whole thing, but I'll turn the body right side out for you. This I am also doing in Mondeem. from Retrosaria. And it is so pretty, and this has been so fun to work on. I did the vast majority of this, I want to say like 2 years ago. And then my thing is I wanted to alter it to be long sleeve. The pattern is short sleeve. Because I thought I would get a lot more wear out of a long sleeve colorwork sweater. So I wanted to do long sleeves, but it's colorwork, so I needed to figure out what the charts would be for the rest of the sleeves. That ended up kind of stalling me a little because, again, just like knitting with a toddler and being like sleep deprived or just like whatever, mom brain, it was just a level more advanced than what my brain wanted to do. So I kind of stopped, and then recently-ish, oh, I gotta be careful. I took the needle tips off this cable, and I'm like about to yank the cable out. In the last year, I figured out what I did want the charts to be. All that information, by the way, on my Ravelry page, if you'd like to knit this with long sleeves and do what I did. I've set it aside for the time being. I just stuffed it in this canvas bag because I ran out of project bags because I have too many things languishing. And then I stole the needle tips. So who knows when I will get back to it. But at the moment, I am focused on, well, I've been focused on Coco's top up until I finished it yesterday. But then I also have 2 other sweaters I started for myself that have been on and off dominating my time. Like I go on one for like a while and then I kind of get interested in the other, lose steam or whatever. Okay, so this one is Azure. It's a colorwork yoke. Fingering weight. I am making it out of Drops Flora, which is a 65% wool, 35% alpaca. And yeah, it's still stretchy even with the 35% alpaca. See, I don't have to be 100% wool all the time. I just need some wool in there or I get cranky. Now here's the thing with this, is I had the idea, now you're probably thinking, did you just say colorwork? That doesn't look like colorwork at all. No, it does not. No, it does not. I had the idea of doing a subtle, low contrast so I chose these 2 colors. After making a swatch, I made this swatch up here. Let me grab it for you. I made this swatch to decide what contrast color to use in the yoke. This dark option, the pink, which I don't think turned out at all because they're too similar in volume. And then as you can see, the light on the swatch, it looks quite good, doesn't it? It looks quite cute. For some reason, on the sweater, I just feel like, well, you know what? On camera, it's not so bad. It has been stressing me out. When I was knitting the swatch, it didn't look like it was gonna turn out. And then after I blocked it, it looked good. But it really depends on the light. In low light, you can't really make it out. So I just go back and forth. I just go back and forth on whether this is gonna be a disaster or brilliant. And Lord, I don't know. So I constantly bother people to give me their opinion. They all try to reassure me. And I just don't know, guys. I just don't know. This is also going to be extremely oversized because I picked a size that was gonna give me a little bit of positive ease. And I think I've lost like 3 inches around the bust since then. And I'm going to lose a lot more post breast reduction. One of the reasons I lose steam on this, in addition to being worried that it's going to be a disaster, is that it's a little tricky to knit in color work, especially in low light, when they are so close to each other. So like I find myself not necessarily making a lot more mistakes, but like having to stop and look and go, wait, where am I in the chart again? Because it's not super obvious. Hopefully it will end up being really cute. I really like the idea of it. I like the swatch. I like how it looks in some light. In other light, I question my choices. So we'll see how that goes. I'm still in the color work on that, and the color work is just for the yoke. So once I get past it, you know, I'll be able to just fly, and it'll just be the simple vanilla knitting that I can pick up. And you know, that is its own kind of torture because I get super bored with stockinette. But yeah, anyway, we'll see how it goes. Okay, last whip, and then I'll talk a little bit about plans for the next things I want to cast on. I'm not planning to cast on any, sorry, alpaca fluff sticking to me. My rule for myself right now is that I cannot cast on a new project until I finish an old project. I just have way too many things going. Mainly because I have years of languishing whips sitting around, some of which I gave up on and frogged, some of which are kind of in timeout to decide if I want to frog them, and some of which I know I'll come back to, it's just not the right time. And that just kind of built up over the course of, you know, you have a few years where your eyes are bigger than your stomach, in that you still see things or want to make things or make plans to make things, buy the yarn, cast it on, whatever, and then you can't really follow through because your knitting mojo is way down. And that just kind of built up, and now I got some languishing whips, guys. It's nothing crazy, but it's a lot for me. Anyway, since I just finished Coco's top, I'm allowed to cast on something new, and I think that's gonna be that whatever it was called that I held my phone up, the summer garment that I want to make for myself. But then I have other things as well that I want to cast on, but I need to finish these garments. This is the throwover, my Andrea Mowry. And I bought the wool for this, the yarn for this, several years ago, but then I did not end up casting it on until this spring. And I'm using the spin cycle that she designed it for in the yoke, which is quite beautiful. And the mane is from Le Bichet Bouche, Le Gros lamb's wool, which I'm loving working with. It is like this woolen spun, really sheepy, just nice. It's got that rustic quality, but it is extremely squish and airy, and it's a little bit more irregular than like a Brooklyn tweed or like some of the more factory-ish formals, if you will. Feels a little bit more irregular, a little bit more small batch, and I just love it. And it also smells like lanolin, which I love. Yeah, and I've done the whole body. I'm on the first sleeve. I think I just finished the sleeve decreases, so it's time to just kind of zoom on that. And I pretty much set it aside to finish Coco's garment because I thought I really need to finish that for her for summer. And I can finish this anytime. Yeah, but I did finish hers before the equinox, so, you know, technically not a day of summer has gone by that I've missed out on, even though it has been warm weather for like a month. Yeah, I'm excited about this. I chose a smaller size than I had. I'd already started losing weight by the time I started this, so I chose a smaller size than I initially bought yarn for. I bought yarn for a larger size. And at the moment, it's fitting, kind of fitted, but I do ultimately like the idea of it being a little oversized, and I think it will be by fall. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, pretty much knitting it to pattern, the length of that the pattern said, everything to pattern. And it's been fun. It's kind of a different look for me. I don't really know what possessed me to choose this pattern when I chose it. I think I just wanted to work with the spin cycle yarn. Yeah, but it's been really fun to make, especially the yoke. I really was zooming when I was doing that part. Okay, so plans. I grabbed this Mad Posh for a pressed flower cardigan. This is California Reaper and Filtered Daydreams on the Wool Cycle Sport. So I'm gonna do this as my like contrast, my under color, and this on top, and I think it's going to look very cute. So that's one of the sweaters that I can cast on when I finish. And then the other thing I have plans for is for Coco. I want to make a mini Halloween heart. I ordered some purple yarn for her from Woolly Mammoth Fiber Co. So it's gonna be a purple and then have like black cats and white ghosts and maybe orange pumpkins in the yoke. I haven't figured out the yarn I'm gonna use for the color work yet. I wanna make her that. She is a spooky pookie. She loves spooky stuff, and I know that she will wear it not just in Halloween season, but beyond. Purple is her favorite color. I almost always choose purple for her knits. It's been her favorite since she was like 1.5. And yeah, that's gonna be fun. I've been, like I said, pretty much keeping up with a pace of knitting her about a sweater a year, so that she always has at least something in her wardrobe that fits her that I've made. But I would really like to increase that. She's small. Doesn't take that long to knit her things, but she does outgrow them quickly. But I would like to kind of try to knit her at least like one thing per season. Garment, I mean. I knit her like other things, mittens and stuff, but I'd like her to have like at least a garment that suits the season all the time. She has been wearing her unicorn sweater that I made her into the summer, just insisting on wearing it because she loves it so much, which is a big part of what motivated me to make her this Anne sweater, because I was like, she needs something weather appropriate that she's excited about in the same way she's excited about the unicorn sweater. And for her, she just, nothing can compare to something I've made her. She loves it, and that will not last forever. One day she will probably be an age where she's not as excited about the things I made her. So really trying to cherish it and take advantage of it while I can. I'd like to sew her some more things, but my sewing mojo has been way down, although I recently moved my sewing machine out here. I recently got this whole setup, this desk, because I don't have a home office anymore, but I've been working from home a lot, so I set up this like home office corner in our living room. And I put my sewing machine on it, and that has been helping. I've been at least doing a lot of like mending, and like I bought her this jumper that the straps were like pretty big on, because I think it was like a 5T or something, and so I added more buttonholes and moved the like thing where they crisscross, just like little alterations to make it fit her now and also fit her later. So like a lot of things like that, but I haven't had quite the mojo to really like start from scratch and make something in quite a while. But I would like to. Maybe I'll make her a birthday dress or a Christmas dress or something like that. We'll see. It was nice to check in. Hope you're doing well. Hope your mojo is surging as much as mine is, and that you're enjoying your knitting and your sewing and your crocheting and whatever it is that you're getting up to. Yeah, and hopefully we can check in again before too much time has passed. I would like to. I'll be there if you'll be there. Okay, talk to you later.